Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This morning, my son had an orthodontist appointment. So they gave me a little extra time, just to slow around and mope around the house, before leaving. And I got up at my normal time, uh, but I didn't have to be ready as quickly. So, of course, I decided, get my little remote control and click, click, turn on the TV. Well, being the holy woman of God that I am, just kidding, decided to turn on, Christian TV, right? So as I'm watching, early this morning, I see, preacher preaching to his congregation, and he was talking about trust, great topic. And so he proceeds to say, and I won't screw your wife. Now, it's not that I haven't heard that word before, that the word was so shocking to me or anything like that, or, that I think that, I'm above and beyond that sort of thing, uh, or hearing that sort of thing, rather. But it was just shocking because I'm not expecting it, that's all. And so, in my amazement, I just continued to listen. But as I, continue to listen, of course, my mind has to process that. It has to process it. And so, in the course of my mind processing this, what I had just heard, I began to think, I wonder what some of the husbands are thinking, perhaps it was a new couple that came to church and heard him say that. Maybe a husband was like, thank God, honey, we finally found a place where the pastor won't screw you. Or maybe another husband perhaps was thinking, oh my God, with all the pastors out there screwing the wives, this has got to be a man of God. Now, as a woman, a married woman, had I been sitting there in the congregation that day, my husband by my side, I would have hoped that his thoughts would have been something like, and what makes you think she would want to screw you? I would also hope his thoughts would have been something like, and don't you even think about it, brother. But instead it was like, the Bible says, and you can be confident of this one thing, that he that has begun a good work in you shall also perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. It was almost something like that. And you can be confident of this one thing: I will not screw your wife. Okay, I'm going to stop saying that word because I just really feel yucky when I say it. But I'm just trying to make a point, so I hope y'all forgive me and understand. But at any rate, let's move on. Because, his decision to say that word, in my opinion, is probably inappropriate. But I'm not going to really pound too hard on it. I'm not going to pick too hard at that because, of course, I'm sure all the children were in children's church, and, it was all adults. We're all big girls and big boys. We can handle it, you know what I mean? And like they say, I ain't been saved all my life. But at any rate, here's what I really, really want to get to. What I really don't understand, and perhaps if you have more insight, you can comment and let me know where I fall short maybe in my understanding. But my real question is, why would a man of God think of a woman in terms of, okay, I got to say it one more time, someone to screw? Do you see where I'm coming from, perhaps? I mean, even if it is let's go to the lowest common denominator here. Even if it is an adulterous situation that is happening, say perhaps, that is something that he falls into, and a woman in the congregation with a husband falls into with him. God forbid, but hypothetically speaking, why would a woman be viewed as someone to screw? And I guess that's my real problem. Because I understand that, even, as pastors or men of God or, whatever, sometimes, you can say things and you don't really mean it that way, you know what I mean? Or you didn't really mean to say that. That's just how it came out. So I'm not really picking at necessarily him saying that, but I'm just like, is that the image of a woman that you have? That a woman who has been given to a man by God to be his helpmate, a woman that is given to, a man by God to bear his children, a woman that is created also in the image and likeness of God, an object to be screwed? So I guess that's my real concern. Sometimes we've heard it often in the African American community, where there is a concern when, these rappers say things about women and call them bees and whores. There's a great concern on how women are viewed and disrespected in our community, particularly in that arena. And so we have oftentimes voiced our displeasure with that sort of language coming against beautiful black women, or just beautiful women, period. So is that the same? I mean, what he said, is that the same depiction of women that men have in the church as they do outside of the church? Because him saying that statement to me is no different than a rapper that calls the women the bees and the whores. It's no different. If you are saying this is a woman, but I'm guaranteeing you, I'm guaranteeing you, I won't screw her. It appears to me that the mindset regarding women is identical. His statement, the rappers, they're bees, they're hoes, they this, they that, and the other. I mean, what's the difference? She's an object to be screwed. She's a bee, she's a hoe. It's just two different platforms that they're saying it in. Okay, so maybe I'm just picking a little bit too much, and I can admit to that. I'm not saying that that was his intention at all, but I'm just saying what it sounded like, to me. And I'm just also saying that, the misappropriate, the inappropriateness of that statement can be misconstrued as his view of women. And in my opinion, it has caused me to ask the question, is that your view of women? Is that the typical view of women in that setting, in a church setting? Now, I know it isn't. I'm stretching it. I'm going, farther probably than I should with it. But I just feel that the point is relevant because, we have to be ever so careful when we say, we're God's representatives in the earth. And not that we're perfect, not that we don't make mistakes. I'm just saying, and I'm using this as an example, that it is our obligation to be careful. Now, I talked about, in another video, a bishop comes out. The bishop that had announced that he was homosexual and leaving his wife, so forth and so on. I talked about that. And again, I will say, who are we representing? Are we representing God, or do we represent ourselves? And here's my point. When we feel that, we can do what we want to do, we can say what we want to say, and we don't care how it's received, and we don't care who likes it and who don't like it, that's a clear indication that we're not really representing God. That we represent our own selves, our own, kingdoms, so to speak. So let me know what you think about it. I thought it was quite different, and I felt the need to want to talk about it. So feel free to leave your comments and have a healthy discussion if you like. Be blessed, and thank you so much for tuning in.